Okay, so how are you doing, Yuriko-san and Mai-san? I'm
Hello, I'm Mai. I'm Mai.
Yeah, I mean,
I, I'd like to introduce you.
happy to see you all. Yeah,
Thank you.
please.
Well, Yuriko-san is my friend. We just met this year, but she has created a product that I want to introduce on this call. It's called the Gods and Goddesses of Japan 48 Oracle Cards. And actually, there is even a Japanese version of the cards. And we're going to go into this a little bit, how I've been using them. And I just wanted to acknowledge Yuriko Ono for, I guess it was your brainchild and you created the concept. And then also Mai, who is your daughter, right?
Yeah, right. The firstborn daughter. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Mai, you are the illustrator of these wonderful cards. I understand. That is just,
Yeah, we worked on this card together.
that's wonderful.
That's fun
Yeah,
and exciting.
super. And I know you have to go soon, Mai, but can you just tell us briefly what else, you're an artist. Can you tell us what other things you're working on or?
Well, to make this Gods and Goddesses of Japan card, I didn't visit all the shrine card. She only visited. And she gave me the inspiration, what she felt. She told me like how each gods and goddesses of Japan looks like, the colors and shapes, and the atmosphere and energy flow, how it looks, and either if it's in human shape or not. And I read all the messages from her, and it's such an inspiration. Yeah.
Okay. And then you designed it. I mean, I don't know like what sort of artistic tools you use, but they are just beautiful. They're very, very Japanese, very Shinto. Yeah. Oh, you picked that card. That was what I was going to talk about, actually.
Yeah, this is the goddess of Mount Fuji.
Yes. Yeah.
Very powerful goddess. And so I told her that this is the, goddess with Mount Fuji energy, and it's like a self-power thing and feminine energy.
Goddess.
And also, please draw like human form goddess. That's,
And I got those messages, and it just came.
Wow.
It just came and it struck me, and I just put it out, and that's all.
So it was amazing. There are 48 cards, and it really didn't take long for her to download the image and energy. So,
wow. That is just so inspiring. And
it wasn't that difficult at all. It was kind of easy to create image from the words and her words. Yeah. And it was fun, exciting for me to just put it out every day. It was exciting experience for me too.
Wow, that's so cool. And I mean, you say it was very easy, but partly I think that's because you're very talented, but also very inspired. You had an inspiration, you had some kind of spiritual energy flowing through that just made it easy to visualize, maybe. Did you feel that?
I think it's just not because of my thing. I really felt that all the gods and goddesses just helped me to create the image too.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, in English, people say, oh my God, they say that a lot when they're amazed. And it's now become a short, like OMG, they even put it in the email. But now when I read these cards and they see the synchronicity. So I say, oh my gods and goddesses.
Yeah, that's something, yeah.
Because it's such a cool thing. But I think a lot of people in the outside of Japan are not that familiar. I mean, you visit Japan, you go to a shrine, but they're not really that familiar with the meaning and how deep a part of Japanese culture it is. And
we Japanese don't know very well about the shrines. We know that they're there. We sometimes visit, but we sometimes just don't know who is there. What the shrine for.
Well, yeah, and one thing that I learned, and I don't know a lot about Shinto, but that originally the shrine was not the building, but the rocks, the Iwakura, or the mountain, or the Goshinboku, the tree the 3,000-year-old tree. That was originally the shrine, and then they built, it was kind of a power spot, and then they built these shrine buildings around it.
Yeah, that's right. You know, all the people cannot go up to the mountain at the top because it's too much work. So that they started to build some kind of, you know, place where the energy of the god can come down.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, a friend of mine, well, actually, he's a tea ceremony master, and he was showing this scroll that was written by a Zen master, and it was something about how the sakura cherry blossoms on the mountain looked like a brocade, nishiki ni nitari, and that but the image was that the kami would come down into things that were like tall, like trees, or had green on top of it, like the sakaki, and that was a place where the kami would come down, and one of the places was the sakura, so the blossoming of the cherry trees. Yeah,
that's actually, you know, true. We call that yori shiro. The thing that the energy, goddess energy can come down and stay. But this kind of concept is, you know, common all over the world, like ancient, you know, religions and spiritual practice. Yeah,
well,
but
I think you're right. I see a lot of similarity, for example, with the ancient Greek gods. And maybe just because I'm more familiar with them, but I think many ancient civilizations have similar ideas. And but what I've found though, and that is just so cool, is that they speak to me in very specific terms. Like I'll draw the cards sometimes in the morning, and I have this really cool app called Notability, and maybe I will. Okay, yeah. So this is just one day that I did it, say January 12th, and so I'll have this thing, and I'll draw the card, and I just put the image in it, and then make some notes about what happened that day. And sometimes it's so inspiring as a theme for the day, or sometimes I'll do it at the end of the day before I go to bed. I always draw the cards, and it's so relevant.
Yeah.
And even sometimes the same card comes up, and it's even totally relevant for a different theme. So I'd like to give some examples of that, just because I'm excited about it. But
yeah, let us know how you use your card. But Mom, can you say?
Yeah.
If you can, please.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're certainly welcome. I know if you have to go, that's also fine. Don't hesitate if you have to leave.
Just my kids are running around upstairs, so.
Okay. Okay, we understand. So okay, so let me suggest, first of all, actually my daughter gave me these as a present, which was really nice. And
what a nice daughter you have.
And I'm kind of embarrassed to say that even though I thought they were really cool, I didn't know how to use them for a while. So they were like on the bookshelf. So you know, people talk about self-help and shelf-help. So they were like, you know, they were on the shelf-help. I wasn't using them for a while, and then I got them out. I said, wait a minute, this is just like awesome. I'm going to just try this. So I would the way I do it is I will take all the deck out, and by the way, in addition to the deck, which has this cool symbol on one side, and then all these wonderful gods and goddesses on the other, but then there's also this wonderful booklet, which is available in English or Japanese, and we'll post the link as where you can get this. But the booklet is these short 2-page explanations indicating where this god is enshrined or goddess is enshrined, and then a short message, and then a slightly longer message, but it's just these 2 pages, and it's always positive. There's like nothing, be careful about this, or don't go out on a Wednesday afternoon if a black cat passes in front of you, then stay. Nothing like that. It's all positive, which I love, but it's also open enough for interpretation, and yet somehow it kind of speaks to you. And I'd like to illustrate that with the stories. And then every day is like an amazing coincidence. And and I'll let you decide whether it's amazing, but I think when you hear it, you say, well, how could that be? And there have been so many. I think I experienced at least one or two a day, and maybe like in the first 3 months of the year, is like I was starting to get into like 250 of these amazing coincidences, and it was like I don't know if this is like a spirit guide or me just being more aware of what's happening. I don't know, but it's very, very cool. And I'd like to share this tool with people in English. And but before I get into my my examples, is there anything that you'd like to say about the cards, or your vision for the cards, what you'd like them to be?
Shinto is like, God and goddess reside in everything. So
Yeah.
everything is sacred, and everything is, come from the one, energy, which is called Ame no Minakanushi. In a way,
the first card.
yeah, in a way, that's a creator of the, Shinto energy. And so everything is from that one energy. So yeah, this is like a Minakanushi card.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Resources for everything.
that's the beginning. And so in a way, like Native American tradition, so that everything is connected, and everything is one aspect of the one, energy. So that like like a physical body, like if all the body is connected, and if my thumb feels itchy, and then the other hand can scratch.
Yeah, it's connected. Yeah,
So,
it's like I just felt itchy in my head and I just scratched. So maybe that's.
But if we don't, feel that we are not connected. If we don't feel we are connected, we feel that my, forefinger and thumb are, totally separated. So that if someone comes and suddenly scratch your head, then they call that miracle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is connected. So if you have some, something in your mind, definitely you draw the card that directly relates to that, issue or whatever.
Okay. I like the fact that you use the word issue, because I learned this, Takigyo is a waterfall training. And I've done this, well, I do it every summer with a Shigendo teacher who's also my friend. And he said that the thing that you need to do for when you go into the Taki is have a kadai or an issue of some sort. So what's your kadai? And I'll just tell you a brief story of, this was like 2 years ago. I went to, it was at Asama Shrine in Kawaguchiko, and the shrine, near the shrine is a Haha no Shirataki, is a waterfall, which is where we do our Takigyo. Now, my mission sort of is, related to teaching Japanese culture. And so my thought was, how can I best convey to my students the best parts of Japanese culture? I had some ideas. I could have answered that question to myself, but maybe not in some detail. I wanted some help on it. So then I went into the Taki, and I kind of heard the waterfall. You hear the sounds, I kind of heard a voice, and the voice kind of in the water just was very distinct. It said, "Kami ni nare." I'm a kami. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. And how do you do that? But it was like an amazing thing, but I couldn't really make sense of it. And then I was walking back after that, and suddenly it became clear to me that was kamiwaza o mitsukete, sore o seikaku ni tsudaeru. So to discover the kamiwaza in shodo or aikido or things that I teach, and introduce it, make it a part of me as much as possible, and then show that. And that's the way you convey Japanese culture. So I said, well, that's something I can do. So I got to, this was summer, right? And the school semester was just starting like a month later. So I ordered some brushes, and this is on the phone, right? So I said, can you give me some brushes that are about 3,000 yen? I don't know what, whatever you choose is fine with me. And so, on the brush, on the stem brush, it says the name of the brush. There's a brand or something. It's usually carved in. And
Right.
the brushes arrived, and guess what it had carved in the brush?
Wow, what does it say?
It said Kamiwaza.
Oh,
That was the brand. I didn't even know that there was such a brand, you know. That was like, now, is that a
Wow.
coincidence? I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, the chances against that are like just awesome. But it happened, and so that becomes the brush that I always have my students use. You know, it just says right on the carved in Kamiwaza. And that was kind of a reminder for me to always think of that. And to me, the cards are a way of trying to find the Kamiwaza. So what I do, and maybe you can advise me on how to use these. I'll have a kadai, as something in my mind. It might be a person who can I help, or it might be a project that I really want to go well, or it might be reflecting back on the day, what happened and what does that mean? What's the significance? So then, you know, I shuffle it up a few times and make sure that it's, you know, that the one I chose yesterday is not anywhere near the top. And then I just kind of just go through it like this until my left thumb kind of says stop here. And just a little bit more friction. And then I just turn it over and okay. Haya akamitsu hiko no kami and haya aka hiko no kami. So this one, the two turtles. So
this one is like, cleansing, you know, let it go.
Yeah, okay. So, and there's a really cool explanation in there about, which is really nice. So, but that's just how I do it. Is there another way that you would recommend?
Well, I think that's the, you know, the best way. Just, you know, think about the question and just draw a card
with left hand.
Non-dominant hand, we say. Non-dominant hand, like if you are right-handed.
Yeah, that's my left hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Dominant hand. I use my left hand. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's how you do it. And usually, before when I teach this, you know, card class, how to read this, I recommend them just to feel the card and look at the picture itself. Don't look at the, you know, this book.
Yeah. Until later. Yeah.
So, for example, like some people, this is a, you know, drawings of the peach god, but some people say that this is like a, you know, the sun, and if that person has like a, you know, health issue, maybe the sunlight that might work for that, you know,
to spend time in the sunlight. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So that, you know, you don't have to just follow this direction.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. So just let your intuition work better, maybe. And and I believe that when we are in flow or in you know, with you know, our purpose, our ikigai in life, that messages like this come to us all around us. But it's really unusual to have kind of a tool in one place where you can just get the message.
Yeah, you can, your mind can focus, right?
Yeah, you know, like the Japanese language is filled with expressions like mushi no shirase, you know, so I heard it from the insects. Well, you heard it from the insects. In English, it doesn't really make sense. And Japanese here, at least they think of sounds of summer with cicada, but for many English-speaking people, unfortunately, that's like more like noise, urusai, you know, but it's not. It's got this nature speaking to us.
Right.
It's a Japanese way of thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. So anything else that you want to like advise? Like, how would you see these cards playing? What role do you see them playing, or what would you like people to know about to use them? What's your vision for these cards?
Yeah. Do you have any idea?
Especially for English speakers, you know, because it's Japanese already, you know.
I think it's a good tool to connect to your own subconsciousnesses.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even know what I am thinking. What I am, I don't even know. But when I use this card, I really tend to draw this card.
Wow.
I always think this means something to me. And this
So
is
that's the card
expressing
that
my
goes on
ancestral
the
content.
CD, right? You made a CD with some awesome music that I'd like to also introduce
Yeah,
later.
dance and sing.
Ah,
So
okay.
Creativity.
creativity
Activity. So,
with
so
with
my,
it.
does this, if you get that message and that feeling, does that make you more productive artistically? You come up with better ideas, your work goes better?
When I draw this card, I'm tired or
Uh-huh.
business minded. I think too much.
Okay.
When I see this, maybe I should enjoy this more without thinking.
Uh-huh.
It helps me. So sometimes this card gives me the message which I don't know, and
Ah,
it's really sometimes helpful for me. So
oh, that's really interesting.
mm,
And so that changes your feeling, makes you more relaxed. But do you also
yeah,
find that you get better ideas and you produce more better art as you? Do you also find
mhm,
that happens? Yeah. Very good.
it makes me realize the part which I haven't been thinking about. So I think these cards are used in that way too for everybody.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now
Know
let
your
me
subconsciousness.
let me compare it to something that maybe Western people might be more familiar with. Is like tarot cards, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So is there a difference, or are they essentially the same? How would you describe the difference?
So
Tarot.
in a way, to connect with the subconscious is the same, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But tarot cards has like archetypes, right?
Ah,
Archetypes like 12 to great arcana,
yeah. It
which
comes from the Kabbalah. Yeah.
and in a way that has like a certain energy.
Ah,
But this one is kind of more free,
Neutral.
neutral and freer.
ah.
Yeah.
And some of
And
the
tarot.
tarot cards are pretty scary, like death
Yeah,
and
tarot cards are sometimes scary, like the tower,
the
the
skeleton,
death.
the Grim Reaper's coming up,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So I sometimes hesitate to read the messages of tarot cards, but
yeah.
these are not scary. So
Yeah, well, I
relax.
understand that the ultimate meaning of those tarot cards was also supposed to be very positive. For example, death is actually represents change, and but they had to conceal what they were doing from the church, and then that became the playing cards, like the four suits
Right.
of heart, of diamonds, heart, and clover, and
Yeah.
what's the other one? So,
Yeah.
four suits, right? So that came from the tarot cards, and so gambling and fortune. Your fortune was now it's become gambling, but it was actually reading your destiny and things like that.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's interesting. But this is Japanese. Okay, if it's Japanese culture, someone might say, well, that's great for Japanese, but what if you're in a foreign country and you don't, you never heard of any of those gods or goddesses, and you don't have any knowledge about it, although you get a lot of knowledge from the book. But what about people in that situation?
Just go into inside of yourself and just feel the vibration of the certain god and goddesses.
Hmm.
But it's in a way like Kukuri Hime is
Hmm.
one of the goddess.
Yeah.
And when I visited one shrine and to bring the message from that shrine, Kukuri Hime was very secretive, very quiet. But
Hmm.
when I go to the main shrine, which is which prefecture was it in Hakusan Jinja,
Yeah.
there this Kukuri Hime energy was very powerful.
Oh.
So but so the tone is a little bit different, but the basic energy vibration is the
Hmm.
similar. If the Kukuri Hime is like a connecting energy to me, connection between two sides or bringing the balance to the
Okay.
two, two, two sides,
Two
whatever.
world, two world.
Duality.
Yeah. So
Really.
Yeah,
is she swimming? It looks like she's swimming upside down. Is that
upside down. Swimming upside down.
oh, face up? I should say face up. But is that the Milky Way above her? What is that? The image of
What is that?
I don't know. It just came to me.
uh-huh.
I
Well,
cannot
yeah,
explain, but my image is she's like weaving something,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
weaving the flow.
Oh, weaving the flow. I love that. Yeah. Well,
Mm,
because some of these words they create images and associations that get you back into flow.
yeah. Yeah. So, you know, so even you don't know anything about the name of this goddess, you can feel the vibration and energy, and looking at this picture, you can get some message from this entity.
Wow.
I really believe so. So you don't need to know all the details of the god and goddesses in Japan.
Okay, well, that's great. So you don't have to have like background knowledge, and it doesn't even have to be for your culture. It's kind of more universal.
Right.
And the symbols are lovely to look at, but they also have a hado or energy.
Yeah.
And that can inspire you. Oh, that's really good. But I'm also, I'd like to ask, you went to the shrine and you found greater energy from that goddess at the shrine, right? You felt that.
More, strong.
Stronger, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to do that, well, now we're in a situation we can't really travel very much, or maybe people listening to this, they're not even in Japan.
Right.
But do you think it would be beneficial for them to say, if they had the cards and they had the book, they can look up where the shrine is? Would you think it would be beneficial for them to like look at pictures of the shrine and kind of virtually visit it?
Yeah, sure. If you have like a concrete image of the shrine, which is like a photos or things like that, you can really feel it. Actually, you don't really need anything, just to call the name of the god and goddess and just bring that energy down.
Okay.
That's the easiest way, simplest way. But if you can really connect with the place of the shrine which this goddess is enshrined, then I think it's easier for you to connect with this vibration.
Well, it's also fun because you're learning about it at the same time. Yeah.
Or maybe you could just look up on the sky, because it's a sun.
Okay, yeah.
You can see the sun in the sky. You
That's
can feel the energy too, I think.
Yeah. So when you we've been talking about doing this for yourself. Can you do this for somebody else? I mean, like you have a friend who's
that's like main purpose of this deck.
Oh, okay.
well, both you can read for others and you can read for yourself.
So, Yuriko-san, I think I neglected to ask what you do for a living. You said you're a counselor.
Yeah, I'll do many things.
Okay, yeah. Well, your English is awesome, and I know you're a professional translator of some note, especially in for spiritual teachers. But would you call yourself a spiritual counselor, or what else do you?
I studied a lot about like psychology, so and also hypnotherapy. So in a way, I'm kind of like how do you call it? I call that integration therapy. Sometimes I bring some medicine to just tell that messages to the client. But so I combine like left brain and right brain thing together in my therapy. Well,
so like if you're doing a reading for somebody else and let's say they don't have the deck, or like right now, like we're online, would you say, think of a number and you draw like whatever that number is? Is that something like that? Is that how you would?
And online, what I did before was just, I'm shuffling, and then please say stop.
Oh, okay. Okay. Stop.
Yeah,
And wherever on top.
About the issue or question. Yeah. And then just I do this like that. Say stop.
Okay. Stop.
And so this one. Wow.
The one on top, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever, like, you can, choose it.
Okay.
The reader can choose which one when they the concept stop.
Wow, that's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, so now it's flowing.
Yes, it is. So, that reminds me of the pattern.
You need to know the destination. Reminds me of what?
It just reminds me of the pattern of raked sand in a temple, actually.
That's right. Yeah.
It's waves, right? It's waves or vibration of waves and wave energy.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, actually, this pattern, I saw it in Izumo Taisha.
Okay, yeah.
Izumo Taisha. And on the ground, there is this pattern.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just told her that draw the pattern.
The pattern.
Do you know that, it's because I just said stop and you pulled that card out. Did you know that the first, no, actually I could say it's the second shrine that I ever visited was Izumo Taisha
Wow.
when I first came to Japan. And the first one was not Oyamazumi Jinja.
Oyama,
In Fuchu, there's a,
Oyama,
Oyama Jinja, I think, yeah. But it's really near Fuchu Station. But anyway, I have a story about that. So, okay, that's really interesting. Wow. So can we take another, say, 10, 15 minutes? Because I want to go over some of the incidences that I found, and just, I've got them all down in my journal. Okay, so I got the idea of writing a journal from reading a book by Deepak Chopra called SynchroDestiny, The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. It was a really cool book. It was more about Indian philosophy, but he said that your synchronicity is not, it's kind of the coincidence of things happening, says, like we've been talking about. Well, it's like a miracle or a coincidence. But he said, really, if you start to read the patterns, it's more like synchrodestiny, which is the word that he invented, I think. I'd never heard of that. And he said the best way to get in touch with your synchrodestiny is to keep a journal of unusual coincidences. So I started doing that on January 1st. And I must say, I mean, they might have been happening before, but they're definitely accelerating. I mean, one after another. And I know we don't have all day. So what I'm going to do is just take a couple of examples. I just picked out some dates. Okay, so January 12th. The card I picked was Konohana no Sakuya Hime, which is, I think you pulled that out, the first one today, right? And this
one.
Yeah, okay. So on this day, I was actually in Nara with a friend of mine, a French friend of mine, who was taking photos of these places we were visiting. And I kept thinking, okay, I've seen that before, I've heard of that before. And it was Asama Jinja in Kawaguchiko, which is where I do the waterfall training. So I thought that was kind of cool. One card out of 48. Yeah, well, there's Sengen Jinja, there's 3 or 4 by that name, but the only one that's called Asama is in Kawaguchiko. So it's not not the largest one, but it's quite an awesome place with a beautiful view of Mount Fuji. Anyway, I also have these thing called I Ching vector cards, and I don't usually mix these together, but they would have like the I Ching reading on one side, and then on the other side you'd have a description of the two. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of put those together. So Konohana no Sakuya Hime, and then the vector cards that I drew were the flow and star energy and flow. And it was just like, okay, so I'll just show you. It's like, this came out here, and then here's the thing. And there's actually an app where you can actually draw these two energies, 8 energies times 8, and you can get this real specific advice. But I thought, well, that was just kind of cool, right? And then January 20, stop me if you have any question anytime, but on January 20, I came up with Takemi Nakata no Kami, this one. So I just take a photo and put it in my journal. And it was Reach for Your Dreams, and at which I realized because I turned 68 this summer, but really for the past 50 years I've always been doing that. Yeah, exactly. And so this was an awesome story. I had a meeting in Shin Kawasaki. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so this is the card that I drew on that day. Okay, so think about this. I was in Yamanashi, and I went by car to pick up a friend. No, we were headed for Shin Kawasaki to visit a company there. and that we were supposed to meet somebody there who happened to live in Fuchu. So, so what we gave him a call. So why don't we just stop by and pick you up, right? So this was before the Corona thing, so it was easy to just go and meet people. So he was supposed to meet us. He lived near Fuchu Station, but his train got delayed, and so we're parked on the side where we're supposed to meet him, and we can't stay there because it's like a bus stop. So we go around to the other side of the station, and he arrives 5 minutes later and gets in the car, and we start driving out, and right at the end of the street, you know, just like a T shape out, I saw these two trees. I don't know if you can, these two trees. It was the front of a shrine. And I recognized this shrine because when I first came to Japan in 1972, we stayed a week in Fuchu, and I remembered there was a shrine there, but I could never remember the name of it. And then I thought, oh my God, that's it. And so Okuni Tama Jinja. Okuni Tama Jinja. And I had not seen that shrine for 48 years. I'd been searching for it in my mind. And again, the shrines are everywhere, right? And there it was, like right in front of me. And I got out and took these photos of these trees because I remembered it so vividly. And then I went in, I'd had such a strong impression of Japan. And this shrine, by the way, Okuni Tamajiya, was established 1,909 years ago in the year 111 AD. It's like ancient shrine. And it was connected to the closing years of the Tokugawa period by the Shinsen, because that's where Hijikata Toshizo and Kondo Isami like would go to this shrine. So there's like some history there. And I'm now doing an article on, or I did some calligraphy, Makoto. The article. It just came out. This is Gekkan Hiden. So it just came out. And this article with me and Takeda Sensei. So yeah, so I had written this Makoto, and this is like a 6-page article. It's got color and the video I think I sent you. But so incredible about that is that this was all connected to that shrine, because this movie, Moyo Ken, this is coming out like next month, Moyo Ken, and that's about Hijikata Toshizo. Yeah, so it was like, wow, you know, it's like it's just all these connections. So that was pretty awesome. And then these coincidences started happening like more and more often. So, I mean, like every day, but I'm not going to reach every day because we'll be here all day. But February 1, okay. February 1, and feel free to comment if you have any thing to say. But okay, this Konohana no Sakuya. Hime. So that and it's where I was on that day. Can you see from the photo?
What's this
chicken?
Niwatori chicken. And can you see?
Miso no
Kami Jingu. Yeah. So I go. It's my my birth shrine. So I go there every year, and I was in Nara anyway. So I went there, and that's the card I drew. So there's a connection between Konohana Sakuya Hime. And maybe you can just tell us a little bit about her again.
Yeah, Konohana Sakuya Hime is very beautiful goddess, which you know, and we could actually, you know, bring the how to say, he brought some ine rice.
Rice,
to the, and he is, you know, ancestor of the, you know, the Japanese royal family. So, Konohana Sakuya Hime is a very, it's like a symbol of the beauty and also the power of the feminine energy.
Okay. So that was the card that I drew.
And Yeah, cherry blossoms, the energy of the cherry blossoms,
Yeah.
it's very powerful, beautiful. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
the main, energy of
So,
that
okay.
goddess.
Super. Thank you. So, and I live not far from Mount Fuji. So, and the Taki, the waterfall that I was telling you about is actually at Asama Jinja. And guess who is enshrined at Asama Jinja?
Of course.
Konohana no Sakya. Konohana no Sakya. That's where
Konohana.
she's enshrined. And I was like, okay, well, this is starting to connect. And then we got March 8th, which I went there. I went to Asama Shrine. And I drew.
This is another.
Oh yeah, the
Another
calendar.
Konohana Sakya-hime, which I drew for my original calendar, 2020.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Your mother gave me one, so that's okay. That's on the
Yeah, in this picture too, I drew cherry blossoms,
Cherry blossoms.
and beautiful goddess.
Wow, that is so nice. Yeah, okay, I'm glad that you pointed that out. Oh, super. Okay, well, I do have the calendar. It's lovely. So, so anyway, I went to the shrine, and the Nakataguchi, the head priest there, who I've known for some years, and he's let me paint calligraphy inside the honden before, which is really nice. So I have a good connection with them. And he said, he's asked me some favor. He wanted me to paint calligraphy for the Fusuma for 3 major doors in their tea ceremony room. And I could do anything I wanted, any kind of story, but he said, please connect it to Konohana no Sakya no Hime in some way. So this is like awesome. It's a huge door. It's like the size of Fusuma. I don't know. There's nothing painted on this, but you can see it's like a full door, right? And there are 3 of them. And so I'm going to, I have a permission to paint this on display at this shrine, which was, it's 1,500 years old, and it's just so awesome. But I was saying, okay, Nakata-san, I would like to introduce these cards to you. And I'd like to draw some cards, right? Now he's a priest, he's a Shinto Guji, right? But he had not heard of the cards. So I said, well, let me explain how it works. So what I did was I drew, again, I just shuffled and I waited till my thumb on my left hand stopped. And the card that I drew was this one. That's Ubusuna, that's your birth shrine, which is Isanokami Jingu, where I just showed you, right? So, and I had just been there not long before, right? That was like less than a month before. And so I drew this card and I said, oh, that's really amazing. So then I had him draw, same thing. And guess what he drew? Yang. Which is also, this is the 7 branch sword, which is connected to Isanokami Jingu. And so that's a pretty direct connection. And then he said, oh, do you mind if we also add this one? Because that's what who is enshrined here, right? So yeah, we can add. And so then I put in my journal, I don't know if you can see this, I just put a photograph of each of the 3 cards lined together. So
yeah, I can see them.
Yeah, I can see.
And so that's like my theme. And when I want to go and paint that, I'm so inspired by your, as an artist, what you do, because when I do that, I don't want it just to be what I think would look nice. I want to have real inspiration that's connected to all this. And so I will definitely be revisiting these cards before I actually paint those things. And I've got some not ancient, but I've got some really good handmade paper for it. So I'm getting ready. So that was a story. And maybe one more. Let's see. March 19, I'll just skip ahead. March 19. Yeah, okay. The Yatsuha Ikazuchi no Kami. This card keeps coming up for me.
Kyoto.
Yeah, and it's lightning striking, like eight bolts of lightning in all directions. The 8 lightning gods, right? And actually, this kind of fits with my personality on the Wealth Dynamics card, which is Star. and star is also lightning energy.
Mm.
So overcome fear with lightning leadership. So this was the thing that I drew, and I had had the opportunity to introduce my Shodo sensei had just come out with a book, and so I did a video of him. Hiseki no Kaga. So I did this video of him on that day, and it was all about bringing more leadership, right? So that came up on.
That's great. You express your own leadership and power, and yeah.
Yeah, but this came up again, and I was coaching an executive. He's just become CEO of an international company, and he was wanting some coaching about his leadership. And I drew the same card. I said, "You got to go in there and just flash lightning."
Wow. Okay.
So that I actually used that.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fun. And I don't know, there's just so many. Like when I get the same card 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens so often.
Yeah, keep
Yeah,
drawing the
this one.
same cards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
Trouble.
And also,
yeah. So Tori no Iwakusu no Fune no Kami. So Iwatori no Kami, just the bird ship of heaven, right? And crossing over into a new dimension. And so I drew this 2 days in a row, and that was exactly, I had been on like a podcast, or I created some, yeah, that's it, yeah. And so the idea was to carry the message on, because I was doing a podcast, and then to introduce people. And so when I look at the podcast that I did on that day, I think I actually did two. And they're on my YouTube channel, but I just put the thumbnail so to remind me. And so what that's doing, it's carrying a message into a new dimension, right? And so that's just so incredible. And maybe the last story, because I know we're going on time here a little bit, but the last story would be like what I drew yesterday and today in anticipation of this call. Okay. So. And also I'm making a lot of progress on launching online content, and so April, May. Wow, it's hard to imagine it's already May 14.
14.
Yeah, but okay, so May. Okay, so yesterday I drew, it's amazing. This is the card I drew yesterday.
Oh,
I'm thinking about this call, right? And then today, I drew Omoikane this Omoikane no Kami. Yeah, who's the god that enticed Amaterasu to come out of the cave, and he devised a strategy.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, and then bring light back to the world. So it's like, ooh, you know. So I've been talking your ear off, but I'm just kind of excited, I think, as you can tell.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes right now your voice is escaping. Yeah, so yeah.
So maybe we can kind of wrap it up, but before we do, I would like to introduce, maybe through links below the video, where people can get these cards, because I think a lot of people are going to be really interested and want to use these themselves. So can you just tell us briefly, and then we'll add the link below for, where they can find these cards? Okay, the screen's frozen up. Moment. I think we lost a little bit of the connection, but it'll come back in a moment. Okay, so while we're waiting, okay, have we got you back? While we're waiting for the screen to unfreeze, I promise I will give you the information. I'll get it from Yuriko-san. And then also, let's see, still don't have you back. Okay, well, I hope that it hasn't locked out, but we're still recording, so I'll just keep talking. So what I would like to do then is hopefully get Yuriko-san back once in a while, and maybe even offer people a chance to experience the reading from her, I think, which would be really cool. But first of all, to get the where you can get the cards, and also the CD. It's got really cool music, which is related to these themes. So that is just awesome. And I would also, oh yeah, okay, maybe signing back in again. Okay, oh, very good, okay. So yeah, I don't know if you could hear me then because the screen was frozen, but so I would like to introduce people where they can get these cards, and especially if they're overseas, if they're not in Japan.
Well, I think send you the URL of the company that created this card. This card,
Yeah.
It's called Visionary Company, and Visionary, created this English version. And I think you in Australia and England and United States, I think you can buy it. But also online, Amazon, you can
Okay.
get it online from Visionary Company or
So
whatever.
just to make sure, because the covers are somewhat similar. Well, this one is in English, and actually it's written in English, but this
right.
also has an English
Japanese
subtitle.
one.
It's just Japanese, right? So
Yeah,
the green one is the English one, and the orange one is the Japanese one. And
That's right.
it makes a nice set if you have maybe there are a lot of couples living overseas where one of the partners is Japanese and the other is non-Japanese, and so it'd be kind of a cool thing for them to share. And and you have a CD. So
right. It's music, and actually we visited each shrine and bring the energy of that, God and goddess. And one of my friend who is a singer, just created the song there at that point, there. So
isn't there one song which is kind of a virtual shrine visit where you actually go and climb the
yeah, that's right. And at the end I did some guided meditation, but it's all in Japanese, so
okay, well yeah, but that's really nice. And then you also wrote a book about the goddesses of Japan. Yeah, so that's in Japanese, but maybe sometime I could get you back to ask you a little bit about what's in that book that people might want to know about, and maybe someday we'll get it translated. But anyway,
glad to, yeah.
That's super, yeah.
So,
And then with your permission, I'd love to continue to introduce this to people. So maybe, even though I'm not like trained as a reader of the cards, I do have a lot of experience with Japan, and Aikido is quite connected to Shinto and stuff. So if you don't mind, I would love to just like be able to do some integrate it with my coaching, and then just tell people where they can get the card if they want more. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Please do it.
Okay. Super.
So
and then, is there like a website or where people can reach you, especially in English? I don't know. Are you putting?
I'm not sure if there's an English site.
In my homepage, all in Japanese. So,
too.
Yeah.
If someone wants to find out more or contact you somehow, obviously you both speak English, or maybe even commission some artwork from my, so it's like, then maybe they could just contact me and then just say how to get hold of them, and then I could contact you. Yeah,
I can send you my website URL too later.
Okay, you have an English website?
Yeah.
Okay, super.
Yeah,
well,
but it's only in Japanese, but still you can see the artworks and illustrations, even if it's in Japanese.
Okay.
And both of us can, read English and, answer in English, so that if you, put some message to our, website directly, then we can get you back, get back to you.
Super. So one thing that I'm thinking is like these I Ching cards that I showed you. There's an app for that people can get, and so even once they download the app, for example, it looks like this, and then you match the 8 energies against each other. So you would say click star and deal maker, and you get something. You get the I Ching reading of those two
Yeah.
energies, and then it's called relationship. And then you click you flip the card over, and you get details like what things you should avoid and how and what keywords are related to that. So this is a way that you would use those I Ching cards. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you had something like this with these cards? So one side would show the card, and the other side would have the what you have in the book.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Okay.
I know it's
Let
expensive
us think about it.
to create,
Yeah.
but it's just sometimes I think it would be really cool if there was something like that. And then maybe display of artwork. I mean, you have your calendar, and I don't know if you sell posters or prints, but there's
print.
because they're okay. Because but that's already printed, right? But if I'm talking about like a poster size, it's like if somebody
I haven't made poster size, but I'm thinking about it, creating the replica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually very easy to do. There are sites like Etsy and actually one called Moo Cards.
Etsy, I've heard of it.
But there's one called Moo Cards, MOO, and it's in the UK, and they print all kinds of materials, and all you do is you upload your artwork.
MOO?
MOO.
MO.
Moo, like in moo cow. Moo. MOO dot, I think there's one in the States and the other, but it started in England, moo.co.uk, something like that. Anyway, Moo Cards.
Look for it.
You register on the site, you upload your artwork, you size it, and you order copies. It could be business cards. You could make business cards with these on the images. And you can do, the cool thing is you can make up to 50. You got 48. So you can even have a couple of ubusana. You can make 50 different patterns. And on the other side, you have your contact details.
I see. It's
Isn't that
only
cool?
in UK.
Well, there's one in the United States, but they're very fast. I order cards from them all the time. I'll put some images on one side, and then I have the contact details on the other. And people say, "Well, this is so cool. You know, where'd you get this?" And I made it. Well, I didn't make it. I just uploaded artwork from a CD of Japanese cultural patterns, and then so I use that as cards. And I think that would be what a cool gift that would be. And just kind of a reminder, you take it into a meeting and I'm going to download some cool energy for this, negotiation, whatever. Just some thoughts.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So thank you so much. And I also, I know you have to go, but thank you so much for staying. And it was just such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah. We had fun.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Great.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can do kind of a session like this and get more people involved and just do it in English, and they can meet you, and then maybe you can even do like a reading for the group, or I mean, it's just up to you. But we'll see what we
can do that. Yeah.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank